Wolves fans, what's going on? Timberwolves Today, Tyrus here. Guys, happy fall again. Cannot complain. Every day that goes by is another day we don't have to wait for Timberwolves basketball. We're nearing 50 days, about even, for the tip off of preseason. Uh, home, not home opener, season opener is October 24th, October 22nd, and the home opener is October 26th. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're going to be able to watch basketball and stop talking about basketball. It's the best part, like we don't ever have to talk about basketball anymore. We can just watch it. But no, let's get right into the meat. Timberwolves broke down their schedule on Twitter today, if you guys saw. And I don't know if you guys saw, but they broke down the schedule as a whole. Here's what we can expect for back-to-backs. They have 14 back-to-back dates. That's not back, I guess it would be 28 back-to-back games in total, 14 back-to-back dates, stretching from that first home opener, October 26th, 27th, all the way to the end of the season on April 7th and 8th. So it's unavoidable in the NBA. We're probably going to see some guys sit out of those eventually. I don't think Ant's ever going to be that type of player, but 14 sounds like a lot. I'm not sure what the top number in the league is this year, but it sounds like a ton. A lot of those doesn't say if they're home or away either, is what sucks. When they're home, I feel like we have a good chance of winning both of them. When they're on the road, who wants to go from like Sacramento and then to Golden State overnight almost? It's kind of ridiculous, I think, that these back-to-back games still exist. I think there's a way to get it done and still be able to make the travel affordable and make sense by not making these guys play back-to-back. I think it's kind of gotten out of hand with, the amount of guys who sit out and they're like, well, why would I want to play back-to-back? Well, Joel Embiid, most everyone works 5 days a week. Some people work more than that even, and you haven't worked since, I don't know, March of 2018 at this point. Like, that's not true. Yeah. You won an MVP. Congrats, Joel. But besides the point, 14 back-to-back dates, I'm fine with it. It doesn't sound awesome, but at least they're stretched throughout. It was a pretty even spacing. It's not like we're going to get front-loaded with them, and then there's no back-to-backs at the end of the season where we might prefer them just so we can kind of stay fresh and we don't have long breaks in between games. But NBA schedule is much cleaner than the NFL schedule. I'll say that. The NFL one, yeah, it's one game a week, but it's weird. It's weird. It is. You're kind of traveling all over. You don't really get more than 1 or 2 games in a row at home. At least the NBA, you might get a whole week at home sometimes. Just my 2 cents on that. But cutting into some other news across not only Timberwolves, but basketball as a whole. This one does affect 2K, which is, I don't know how you guys feel about 2K. I haven't bought 2K since 2024 because it's a gross game at this point. I don't want to have to be a top 20 player to enjoy the game. I want to just enjoy the game. So news came out that EA was working on a college basketball game to follow up the college football game. And in the past, they had obviously done it, I don't know, way back in like 2004 to, I think 2011 was the last one. Obviously before 2004. But besides the point, 2K is going to take over for the college basketball game because so many schools have signed on with them to do the game versus EA not being able to get enough of the schools to do it. So, 2K remains king for basketball, unfortunately, and we're going to have to spend 100,000 VC just to go to class and probably enter the transfer portal as well. So, thank you, 2K. Please don't ruin college basketball. Just give us all 365 teams. And, yeah, it will be interesting because, it's going to change the Ultimate Team stuff. Like they're saying it's going to be in one game, and they're not even talking about breaking it up. So we might have guys on the Timberwolves who aren't even going to be in the college basketball thing as a card, I would assume, not only because they stink or they weren't good college players, but like I don't think everyone's going to make it, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to be a good thing for basketball as a whole, let alone us as Timberwolves fans. So let me know what you guys think on the 2K college basketball stuff. I just wanted to sneak it in here, talk about it because I totally had forgotten about it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really care for 2K anymore. It's a gross game, and I think they just make people waste a ton of money. Speaking of wasting a ton of money, Kawhi Leonard, yeah, he's still getting investigated for salary cap circumvention, which is good old boy Steve Ballmer. Um, he seems pretty guilty. It's kind of came out that, yeah, teams do have marketing sponsorships with their top player. Okay, great point. But why was Kawhi paid 28 million for 5 signatures? That's basically what it's coming out as. Like someone else has done all the research. I'm just quoting what I've read and heard. Um, but it doesn't seem to line up. And so everyone's kind of expecting that Kawhi might get cut from the Clippers as a result, kind of how Joe Smith did. Obviously, we don't think they're going to lose 5 first-round picks. That's pretty dramatic. And when they did do it to the Timberwolves, obviously it put us in a hell um, that we're barely getting out of now. But yeah, I keep seeing people say the Timberwolves should sign Kawhi Leonard as a free agent. We're not doing that. You understand that, right? Like if Kawhi gets cut, he's gonna disappear. He's gonna go off to wherever he lives, wherever he wants to live, and we're never gonna hear from Kawhi again. That's what happens with all the former Spurs players. How often do you see their names in the news and whatever? No, you don't. They just disappear and enjoy the rest of their life because they're robots. For you Game of Zone fans, they're oh my gosh, I just spaced it then. They're the undead people from Game of Thrones, Like they have no emotion. It's just basketball, winning championships. That's all they're good at. Now, I would love Kawhi on the Timberwolves. I think he would fit perfectly for at least a year or two if we could sign him to like veterans minimum because he doesn't need any more because he's gotten so much money behind the doors. But yeah, why not sign Kawhi? That'd be fine, but it's not going to happen. I hope we're all aware of that. Like, it's actually not going to happen. I keep seeing comments. I've seen plenty of tweets being like, the Timberwolves could bring back the black tree jerseys. You know what they need to do after that? Get Kawhi Leonard. So thank you, Sleeper Timberwolves, for doing that. You're just talking about nothing, much like I do sometimes. But that's besides the point because we're not getting Kawhi Leonard. Don't even think about Kawhi Leonard anymore. And let me tell you about someone we could actually get. That someone you ask? His name is Peyton Pritchard. He is sixth man for the Boston Celtics, a team who is going through a weird patch in their organization. They got sold. Well, they won a championship, got sold, cut their salary cap, and now they're kind of seeing what they might have for a season while Tatum recovers. It seems like it's going to be Jaylen Brown and, dude, the brain. And Derek White kind of leading the squad for at least a season just to see what's going on there. And Peyton Pritchard might crack their starting lineup for once. Good for him. He deserves it. But he won't be there long because the Timberwolves will be trading for him. I will say that. I think we could get him pretty fairly too. I've worked out a trade here where we're taking on about 1.3 million, which isn't awesome, but the Celtics are saving about 1.3 million, and we know they're looking to save money. And also just kind of get some role players in there. I think they are pretty comfortable with what they have. They might look to retool after Tatum's healthy again, but I like this trade for both sides. So the Timberwolves would be sending Dante and Rob Dillingham. Dante gives them some great shooting kind of in a weird period here. Replaces that Pritchard type player. While Rob Dillingham slides in as a nice young point guard. He's going to be able to develop there a little more. I think he would be terrifying under Joe Mazzulla because Joe Mazzulla is a psychopath. But I like that trade for both those guys. It gets Dante back to somewhere he might actually be able to start consistently and find some consistency in his game. And then Rob would obviously be able to develop under Joe Mazzulla and the rest of the guys over there in Boston. Great deal for both of them. Happy for them. But I'm sure you're wondering what the Timberwolves would be getting. We're getting some white boys. That's what we're getting. To make the money kind of work here and get us some pieces that I think might slide in nicely into our depth. One, Peyton Pritchard, obviously, our new starting point guard for the future of the Timberwolves. I like it. I think he'd fit really nicely next to Ant. When Ant drives, you can kind of dish it out to the three-point line, and Peyton Pritchard is lethal from there to half court. So, love that for them. And then we'd be taking on Sam Hauser. You either love him or you hate him. He's a fine NBA player. Only making $10 million a year for the next 4 years. Not bad. It's a fine contract. He just got paid, which is an issue. But Peyton Pritchard's only making $7.3 a year for the next 3 years. So the Celtics obviously wouldn't be able to pay him. So that's why he's another great piece that Timberwolves could trade for then. And then finally in this trade, we're going to take on Bailey Shireman. Why not? He was an absolute ball hawk at Creighton. I think he could develop nicely. He could also just kind of slide into our roster, kind of with that TSJ Jalen Clark type of mentality, type of player. Really a good trade for us if we could convince the Celtics to make it. We're probably throwing, I would say, 1 second or 1 second, 1 first, and a couple seconds at them just because they're going to want capital because we know they're looking to get cheaper. Best way to get cheaper is to draft players. But yeah, that's kind of the trade as a whole. You guys can let me know what you think about it. Honestly, it's one that makes a lot more sense to me than anything we've done in the past. I would love to see this one at the deadline if the Celtics are like, let's punt on the season. Let's get this over with. Not a bad trade for either side, especially if the Timberwolves want to go all in the season. Pritchard is a proven player who can score the basketball and help others score the basketball. Sam Hauser, great role guy, and Baylor Schreierman hasn't gotten much of a chance, but I'd love to see him get one with us. So that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think of the back-to-back games, 2K getting all the college basketball teams, Kawhi not being a Timberwolf. That's not happening. Don't go and tell people you think it's going to happen. You will look silly. And then obviously trading for Peyton Pritchard. But until next time, got nothing else for you. End today's video. Let's go with the draft steal, who I think I've mentioned, but I found a sick card of him. Keita Bates-Diop. Who could remember or who could forget this Ohio State legend? See you guys next time.